Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, it's been a long time since I made a video, and one of the reasons is because I just really haven't felt like I need to make a video. I really haven't had anything pressing for me to put on, and I'm trying to make my words more valuable, so I'm not just going to send out a bunch of information. And I found out stuff just laying out on the ground. If your words are just always available for everybody to hear all the time, then they carry about as much value as a normal rock laying out on the ground. So I think it's important. The Bible talks about listen more and speaking less, and I'm trying to do that more. Also, second reason is I've been in YouTube jail. I went to manage my videos a little while ago, and it had been months since I'd even thought about putting anything on, and I was deliberating over a topic, and I found out that they went back and they did a search on a video where I talked about presidential elections, and so they put me in YouTube jail for spreading misinformation and whatever. So this has been on my heart really heavy as of late because just of everything that everybody can see going on. It's not going to be new news to anybody, but we're in an information war, okay? We're in an information war, and the firing of some prominent people that were still speaking the truth, that would still challenge and question things, and bring up the fact that there were holes and even videos of things that were being misrepresented by our government and by news outlets and news media in different places. The firing of some of those guys is really narrowing in mainstream media the level of truth that's available. You know, it is serious propaganda. It's just the way it's been. This is not necessarily a new thing, but it's never been to the level that it is now. You know, and the internet has been an amazing invention in the simple fact that people had other available resources they could go to find out news and to at least cross-reference what they were seeing to find out if it was the truth or not. You know, they could hear different points of view, maybe eyewitnesses to something that was going down that wasn't being accurately reported or whatever. And so they could cross-reference agendas and find out exactly what was going on. You could search things and find out. You could search Google or whatever you would search to find out what was going on. You could come to YouTube and you could find there were different guys that had YouTube channels that are very prominent, have done lots of homework, they're amazing. Some of them are still on here, but it's becoming increasingly threatening, even for me, if you see my views, it's like it's not exactly threatening, but still, even for me, they went back a year, maybe almost 2 years, and went through my videos and put me in YouTube jail for spreading misinformation. It wasn't misinformation. I didn't appeal it because I wasn't going to repent from it at all. And they had the whole identifier that they sent to me that said, do you understand why you're, and they had the video and the specific whatever, and I didn't even bother watching it. Well, as soon as they went to misinformation and election, I already knew. I knew where they were coming from, so I didn't have any need to go back. And who knows whether this will, how long this will stay on the air, if at all, if they see it. But anyway, so we're in an information war, and it is a critical information war. We're going to need different outlets on the internet besides some of the platforms that are currently the most prominent, because what's happening is even the most prominent platform is beginning to choke out information that is going against the narrative in almost everything today, whether it's politics, elections, whatever, vaccines, all these hot trigger words that I'm talking about right now. And YouTube, if you're reviewing this, I'm not saying any information. I'm just bringing attention to what happened, okay? That's it. So I'm not spreading misinformation. It happened to me. So, and you did it, so it's information. So anyway, because they're going to review everything, I believe, especially once you've been in jail, they're going to review it all. And so anyway, so they're gradually on multiple channels, aside from Twitter, which has now been opened up for truth. Thank God for Elon Musk. I think he's going to come to the Lord whether he wants to or not. I think he's being positioned. That's what I feel like. God uses people that don't comply with the church, by the way, because the church doesn't really necessarily comply with God either, anyway. But so we're in an information war, and they're trying to stamp out any access that you have to information that would cause you to question your government, to question different powers, to question media outlets. Every bit of information that they want to get to the Americans, to teach them and train them, not just America, but the world, to shove their agendas down the throats of people, whether it's LGBT communities or whether it is, abortion battles or whatever. And there is an awakening going on with people, which I'm so grateful about. And there is a strong pushback, and it's going to get much, much stronger. The woke generation has had its hands around the throat of the main media outlets and increasingly squeezing down. They couldn't do it completely all at once because then it would be obvious and there would be a revolt, but they had to do it gradually. And they're doing it now, not just through mainstream media, but also a lot of internet outlets. But I'm sure that we will be resilient. There'll be other major platforms that will choose the truth, that will choose to freedom of speech. Even if this platform has not chosen freedom of speech, there are some that would. If this is privately owned, I don't know. I don't suppose they necessarily have to, but if it's a public forum, I would think that they would have to yield to freedom of speech, but nobody seems to be wanting to yield to that right now, regardless. They're sending out indictments for stupid things that don't amount to a hill of beans. They're just challenging whoever they want with zero regard for the Constitution. That's where we're at right now. We're going to have a pushback from a grassroots level on this. We're going to have ingenuity to find out how to get information to people that is the truth, to teach people the history of our nation, not this changed, what's the word I'm looking for? Indoctrinated, woke speak versions of history to get the agenda to our kids the way they wanted to get to them, to get to family the way they wanted to get to them. There's going to have to be ingenuity. God's going to give us wisdom to push back on some of these things, and or to create different avenues. Actually, mainstream media, the news stuff, they're all dying out. Their ratings are dying out because guess what? Guess what, YouTube? Nobody trusts them. And if you begin choking out everybody who wants to say anything to question authority, we have to be able to question authority. It is not misinformation, should I say that word? It's not misinformation to question authority. If there's evidence of things going south in some of the procedure of our government or our elections or our media outlet, whatever, if there are questions, if there's evidence, we have to be able to raise our hand and go, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean we're trying to be volatile against anybody. It just means that we, as a country, as an individual, you have to be a critical thinker right now more than ever. Because if you don't, you're going to be brainwashed. You're going to be propagandized. You're going to be programmed to hear and to believe and to think what this system, this demonic system, this principalities and powers ruled, listen to me right now as I'm talking to you, eavesdropping. Who knows what's going to come out of this? I pray that God would keep this and get this to your ears and to anybody else's ears who wants to hear it. But if you don't push back, if you're not a critical thinker, if you're just flipping through TikTok and YouTube and Twitter and all those different, and that's where you're getting all of your information, and you're not becoming a critical thinker to look up and find out what the outcome of these things that they're doing is, and being honest with yourself about it, and being able to listen to somebody else who's being honest about it, then you're going to be propagandized. You're going to be trained and programmed. You're going to become part of the process. Right now, anything that questions the systems and the things that are in place is considered to be fringe, on the fringe conspiracy theory. It's frustrating. It's heartbreaking that this is what we've come to. And what's sad is it's a snowball rolling down a hill, and I don't think it's going to stop. It's going to get increasingly so. It is tyranny. Doesn't matter if it's under the guise of democracy or not. If they don't have a constitutional leg to stand on for the things that they are silencing people over and arresting people over and indicting people over and whatever else it is going on, if they don't have a constitutional reason to do that, then it's tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter what the name is over the head. It doesn't matter. The Democratic Party is anything but democratic. I'm not saying the Republican Party is much better, but I'm telling you that there's a crazy power move that's taking place right now that's absolutely insane, where the average person is looking at each other even and going, what are they doing? How are they getting by with this? Well, we're letting them get by with it. That's how. We're letting them. Everybody's so busy. I just want to mind my own business and keep my head down and do my job and, watch my programs at night and go to Netflix and go to Prime Video and flip through TikTok and whatever. I just want to do my thing. I want to go to work, come home. And meanwhile, there are other people that are much more intentional that are just saying, yeah, go ahead and use those pacifiers. Just stay distracted. Don't use your imagination. Don't ask any questions. And anybody who does ask questions, we're going to rain hell down on you. That's exactly what they want the people to do. But the people is a sleeping giant, and if we could just wake up and begin to question things, there'd be a turn of the tide. I wish I could tell you that I believe that it would happen, but I really believe that most people are so self-consumed. And they're being put in a boiling pot, and it's just gradually being turned up, and their freedoms are just gradually being stolen away. But if they phrase it right, if the trustworthy sites, well, surely CNN. The CNN. It's the news network. We've trusted them forever. It's NBC, ABC, CBS. I was raised up watching this. When I was a kid, I know Walter Cronkite, and he passed the baton on down to these guys, and they're trustworthy. No, they're not. Nobody is trustworthy. Question everything. Challenge everything before it comes into your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a critical time. We're in a critical time in our country. They're silencing people who have 30 viewers. That's how far they've gone to police our speech. That's how far they've gone. So, I won't go quiet into the night. I will not. I won't shut up. And whether 10 people hear me, 5 people hear me, or 50,000 people hear me, may God give me the grace to say the same thing. Because every single person listening, you are extraordinarily valuable, and you can affect change in everybody that you have influence with. And I'm not saying go talk about a bunch of crazy stuff, but we need to ask some questions. And I don't want to demonize people that have gone through things like that have had vaccines, have family, have friends that have had vaccines. But let's be honest about what the outcome of that has been. Does anybody want to look at that? Or they just want to keep their head stuck in the dirt? Does anybody want to find the organizations that are pushed back? They want to see the people that resigned from the FDA because of pushing through the boosters the way they did. The high-level scientists who have scruples, who have integrity. It's just one thing. Elections. If we don't have trustworthy elections, and I think the only way to have trustworthy elections, honestly, is we're going to have to go back to a hard paper count. Digital elections are far too manipulatable. I'm not saying that they were, YouTube. I'm just saying it could be. It could happen. God forbid that we would ask a question about wanting to maintain integral elections. I just want to see integrity in every single thing that happens. Everything. If there's integrity in it, so be it. But we should be able to ask the question. Especially obvious things that we feel like are obvious. We should be able to say, hey, am I missing something, or is this a certain way? I mean, I'm just a businessman. I'm just a normal American dude. I'm not trying to be a leader of anybody. I'm just trying to do my responsibility and ask the questions. So anyway, God bless you. I know this wasn't a heavy spiritual sharing thing, but it's serious the time that we're in right now. We are in an absolute spiritual warfare that is influencing every outlet and trying to choke down any level of truth that it possibly can. Okay? Don't stand for it. You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free.